Hey, so as we navigate our challenges, which is what this series is about, I want to share an understanding about the reality of life that can really help keep us grounded when we're struggling. And that understanding is that every upside comes with a downside. There's nothing in life that's all upside without any downside. And the more that we understand this truth, the less that we're going to be shaken up by the downsides, right? The less that we're going to take it personally and think that there's something wrong with me, I'm a failure, or I'm not cut out for this, or any of these disempowering beliefs we can have when we're experiencing downsides, because we understand, like, this is just how it works. This is just part of the process. And this idea, especially, it applies to the topic of desires, because first of all, the manifestation of all our desires is always going to come with a downside, right? Easy example would be, think of having a baby or getting married. These are things that people want, but obviously they always come with some downsides. And the same thing applies to everything that we want. But something that gets less attention is the fact that there's also going to be a downside with the journey itself towards our desires. Right? Like going after what we want, the journey, the movement, the process to getting what we want comes with downsides. It comes with upside too, right? There's always going to be both. There's always going to be upside and downside to everything. So the upside will be feeling hopeful and excited or intentional, empowered, determined, all of these nice feelings as we go after what we want. But the downside could be having some sort of breakdown take place, because there's the old me, right, with all of my old conditioning, my past patterns. This make up my comfort zone, and that's going to need to break down as I create something new for myself. And this breakdown can really come with some very real hurdles. So to give different examples of what this could look like, a simple example is renovating a home, right? It's a big bracha. It's very nice if you could do it. But ask anyone who's done it, it always comes along with some headaches, right? Stepping into a new entrepreneurial career has the potential for so much job satisfaction, but it also has the potential to really trigger our vulnerabilities. Moving away from people pleasing, learning to say no, being more assertive, that can really anger people in our lives that don't appreciate this new version of ourselves. And speaking of the downside of a process, the process of learning to become more assertive in a way that's still respectful and kind can be a learning curve. And until we get that skill under our belt, that whole movement away from people pleasing can really come with some chaos. Healing our old traumas. That's a wonderful thing, right? We're healing, we're becoming more whole. But oftentimes it requires us to dig up some old skeletons, and that can be quite painful. Showing up for life more fully, putting ourselves out there more, that can really rattle our shame, because anytime we put ourselves in the spotlight, we're drastically increasing the risk of our shame being rattled. And just really anytime we allow ourselves to want more from life, or to want something more for ourselves or from ourselves, to expect more of ourselves, that can come with frustrations that I don't have what I want already, or I'm not already the person that I want to become, right? So just remember that as you experience downsides, frustrations, even breakdowns and chaos, it doesn't mean you're not cut out for this. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It's simply the downside that comes along with showing up for life fully and evolving into your best self.